Good morning, everyone. I'm happy to welcome you here on this webinar. And first of all, many thanks to TRA, who organizes and promotes this webinar series. My name is Elena Molchanova. I work for KASPERSKY, which is one of the largest cybersecurity vendors on this planet. And I'm responsible for security awareness products, which means this training for IT security trainings for general employees. So that means that we have a lot of expertise and a lot of experience with which errors employees make when they work from office or remotely. So this is the tips and the statistics and some considerations that I'm going to share with you today. If you have any questions, please type them into the chat section of this conference. We will have 15 minutes for Q&A in the end of this webinar. So let us go. Well, this is the information which I presume are very familiar for many of you. This is the losses and the misconceptions that employees may have towards security awareness. And this is the rules how they usually behave. Well, for example, this is maybe one of the scariest points. So 35% of employees told us during the survey that they share their work credentials with anyone else. So can you imagine how many employees just don't share this information and still share their credentials? We all understand how important and how dangerous it can be and how costly it will be for the organization. This is another service that we have, and we know very well how much will it cost to organizations if you have just one single cyber attack, which is caused by employees' mistakes. Well, for example, if you are big organizations, more than 1,000 employees, that unfortunately, the cost of one single incident will be more than $1 million. Even if you are the smaller company, the average will be up to $100,000. That's unfortunately the sad statistics that we have, and that's unfortunately what happens every day with hundreds of organizations all over the world. And unfortunately, once again, during the last months, the situations won't get any better. We all have in the very unusual conditions, and I'm pretty sure that many of you are joining this webinar from home, as I am. And I'm more than sure that some part of your employees, at least some part of your employees, still work remotely. Of course, it poses additional threats to the company. Again, this is a lot of factors that can influence this. For example, employees can work from unprotected Wi-Fi networks, so use their personal devices, don't use VPN, a lot of factors, and they are more relaxed in having the cybersecurity rules. All of this can cause an enormous damage to the companies. Again, this is unfortunately what we have been seeing for months right now. This is again some additional numbers for you. In April, we have conducted the survey for the employees all over the world and asked them what has changed in their working habits during the quarantine time. Well, look here. 50% of employees use VPN, which means that another half of employees do not use VPNs. Many of them work from personal devices, and these devices, in many cases, are not protected even by antivirus. Even in April, when just 1 month has came since the pandemic has started, a quarter of all employees received at least one email, phishing email, which used COVID-19 as the key topic as a key hook, actually. Again, what is important? 27% recognize these emails as malicious. Can you imagine how many people just get this email and maybe even clicked on them, but just didn't recognize that it's malicious? And all of this with companies, many companies not having any policies how employees should behave in cyber when working from home. And the majority of them do not have any special security awareness training for this case. That's how the situation going these days, unfortunately. So today we are discussing, first of all, I will share some cases with you, which will highlight the specific points of danger that remote work can present. The next stage, I'm pretty sure that your organizations right now, you're very conscious about cybersecurity, and most likely you shared with your employees some tips and tricks. But maybe we'll try to analyze what can be not that great in sharing such tips, what can be taken into considerations additionally. And we will end with some considerations and with some experience on how to make employees themselves think about cybersecurity, be motivated about this. I will share some tips, and of course, in the end, you'll have the opportunity to use some free tools, actually. Let's go. This is the statistics which you could observe for many months until now. So in the peak in April, more than half of population of this planet have been working from home. Right now, of course, this percentage is smaller, but again, well, this is the new reality. Many employees will stay at home, and we need to know how to adjust to this, how companies should. Not only companies, actually. So as we all know, even governments work from home. On this screenshot, you can see the British government, yes, having their remote session in March, if I'm not mistaken. Please remember this slide. We will come back to it a little bit later. Even, well, heads of states have their international gatherings in video format. It's normal now. Well, and we also can see a lot of experts joining media, joining webinars, any of this remotely from home, like I am doing right now. So for some of you, maybe this picture means something because it video was very popular some time ago. What happens? Actually, this is the live broadcast of BBC Corporation. And this is one very important expert in economics matters, the professor of economics. And he's making the interview from home. And here is almost entire family breaks through to the room he's joining and making a lot of noise, a lot of fun, actually. So that was quite shocking and maybe unusual, and everyone shared this video. But I must say that if it happened today, maybe it wasn't that popular, it wasn't that viral, because it's the reality we work right now. A couple of years ago, of course, it was just an exception to some extent. So how to adjust to this situation, what to do with this, and how not to fall into cybersecurity threats. And I asked you to remember the screenshot with the British government meeting in March. So that was the screenshot which Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of Great Britain, shared on his Twitter account. And I would say dozens of millions of people seen this on their computers or on their mobile phones. But if we zoom a bit, so we will see that Boris Johnson also shared his Zoom meeting ID. If it was right now, it wouldn't be a threat, because Zoom conference software made enormous progress in making their solution much more protected. But back in March, having the Zoom meeting ID would actually allow you, in the majority of cases, to join the conference. So can you see that if you have this number of this ID, you can enter secretly the meeting of the UK government. Of course, there were some hidden tools to make your meetings a little bit more secure, like passwords, but the majority of people didn't use the password. Right now, it's not possible because Zoom has made a huge progress. But again, you need to think about this. And Boris Johnson just didn't know about this. Now all the world knows. Well, this is just some statistics. During several weeks, a number of new domains on coronavirus infection grow hugely. And 20% of these new websites, URLs, were actually very suspicious from cybersecurity point of view. And about 1% of these new thousands of domains have been definitely malicious. So what happens? People get interested about this, right now a little bit less, but back in March and April, everyone was just mad about news information. They're joining this, they're coming to this website and they get infections. Just several case studies and examples how cyber criminals act, unfortunately, right now as well. This is one cyber criminals gang, which created the .exe file, the interactive software, which emulated the interface of Johns Hopkins University. It's all good with the website of Johns Hopkins University, which shares a lot of statistics about coronavirus and other infections. But in this particular case, cyber criminals created and distributed the executable file, and they simply asked users to install it on their computer, and that was the Trojan. So all the data from computer of these people just get to cyber criminals. Sometimes it could be the number and the credentials of the bank cards and the bank transfers, anything, or passwords. So cyber criminals knew it all. How you could be protected from this? Actually, just to be suspicious. I don't know what all these people who installed this software thought about. So you have the website, legitimate website, but you still try to download some strange application, and you are installing the .exe file to your computer. Why? Why you're doing so? Why you are not using antivirus? Because that was the threat which could easily be covered if these people just have antivirus. But maybe a little bit more important to be suspicious, to understand why you're doing some things in digital. Another example, very similar, the Android app for mobile phones, which provides some information for you, presumably. But in reality, it is the ransomware. So it encrypts your smartphone and all the data. Again, my question is, why you are installing some strange applications? Why you are doing this? Why you are not actually backing up your information? Because the majority of people just get their phones encrypted and the information has that. So why not to back up? Why these people don't know how to behave in this and how to do so? Actually, the answer is very clear, because they don't know why it's important and how to do this. They don't have skills and don't have motivations. Very easy. Another example with the phishing attack that was distributed for a number of American universities, for the students and for employees, for professors. So that was emulated like an email from university administration. Just Diaz, can you please check the latest information about COVID-19? Okay, that's something to track about. But then you're coming to the by the link, and what are you getting? You actually have the PDF document, which is okay by itself, but this PDF document, for some reason, asks you your Microsoft Outlook credentials, login and password. Why on earth it's doing so? Why hundreds of people has just simply entered their email and password for their Microsoft Outlook accounts? Well, actually, they lost these accounts, and with a lot of corporate information and other information. Again, my question is, why people are not suspicious enough? And the answer is absolutely the same. And the last example that I want to share, it's actually not even the real situation, because this is what happens every day. So we added this example, this situation, to one of our online training, which is named Cyber Safety Management Games. What is this? So this is our character is making the webinar and the lecture, the remote session with the customer, and he is proud to announce that this company, his company, Omega, has the perfect logistics and the perfect delivery system. And at the same time, his Skype actually pops up the notification like we have the terrible situation. A lot of customers don't getting their delivery for many days. That's simply because this gentleman didn't think about pop-up notifications which messengers can send. The solution is very easy. Just switch it off. But you need to care about this, and you need to know how to do this simple action. If you don't do this, so it can damage your reputation, like in this example. So what to do with this actually? And how to create this basic cyber hygiene skills at your employees. Again, as I mentioned, fortunately, the majority of companies, especially the companies who care about cyber safety, shared some tip sheets for their employees and shared some advices on how to boost their cyber safety in this new environments. But let us take a closer look on this. So I mentioned that unprotected Wi-Fi networks can be, well, huge damage for corporate cybersecurity. And what to do if I'm working from home? I'm using my private Wi-Fi network. So many companies are just telling their employees, okay, use the encrypted network, set a strong password, and use two-factor authentication for important resources. That's great. This is the great advice, and no doubt about it. But let us think about one thing. First of all, do your employees know what WPA2 encrypted network means? Do they understand how to recognize, is my network encrypted or not? Do they know how to change password for their router? Because so for the Wi-Fi router, the vast majority of people using the default passwords, which can be the same for the thousands of devices. So they can easily, this default passwords can be easily found on internet by cyber criminals. Actually, my question is even harder. Do your employees know what is a router? If you have the IT expertise, of course, you know what's this. But think about, for example, your accountants or about your treasury workers. Do they know what is router? How they recognize this box in the corner of their apartment, and how to change the password there, and why doing so? So they won't following your advice actually. And to use two-factor authentication, that's great, but your important systems can actually have this enablement to introduce two-factor authentication. The next thing is separate accounts for devices you use for work, and many people works using their personal devices. So you can have a tip to create a separate account for each family member. Family members are not malicious, of course, I really hope so, but sometimes they can just simply install some malware which are not welcome for the corporate part of your life. Sometimes they can, I don't know, sometimes the cat can just type something by its and send the email to your boss, for example. You don't want to have this. So just separate your accounts for each family member, and that will be fine. And protect your account with a strong password. Again, the same questions. Will you assist your employees? Will they know how to do this, and why bother? Or maybe they will create the strong password if they know how to do so, and maybe they'll just write it down and stick to the fridge because they are not capable to remember this. Again, this is questions. They need to have the skills. Well, a little bit more advanced option. For some of your employees, you may have the virtual machines, for example, to protect the sensitive resources. Do you have this policy? Do you know how to do this? Do you know how to assist your employees with this? Especially non-IT employees. Most likely no. Software updates. All of us maybe heard that it's important to install software updates regularly. But first of all, do you know why it is important? Do you remember that, for example, some notorious cybersecurity breaches and outbreaks have been caused by, well, actually not updated software? For example, WannaCry 3 years ago, maybe it's the biggest cyber outbreak ever, and it only damaged those employees, those people actually who have the unupdated software, unupdated for months, software, including the antivirus. So if you had updated software, WannaCry wasn't relevant to you. You are not infected. You are not having any bad. Do you know another thing, that if well, some installations, some updates are applied immediately and automatically, but some of them are not. For example, when your browser getting the updates, which is very important. So it requires at least to close the browser and to reopen this. I didn't know it before I joined Kaspersky, and the vast majority of your employees don't know about this. It's very easy for them. They can do this, but they don't know that it's important. So other safety rules, actually, I'm not going into details for all of them, but well, this is what you are sharing with your employees. But how you are doing this? Are you sure that, first of all, your IT department is ready to implement these measures? Second, that employees really understand why do they need to follow rules? They are capable and they really use it. If at least one of these points are not satisfied, then unfortunately, you have the big chances to get cyber infection. How to ensure that the skills exist, actually? Well, the answer is obvious. Security awareness training is the obvious answer to this request. So if employees passing through security awareness training, chances are that their skills will be much higher, and that with this, your company will be much more protected. And this is actually the part in the field of IT industry, which grows tremendously. So it's been growing by 50% each year for many years. So for the so many enterprises and smaller companies actually improve their budgets for security awareness a lot. And I'm pretty sure that after this year, the companies will pay even bigger attention to this. So, and 35% of IT security directors named employees' education as the first priority to raise security posture of their organizations. But many of IT directors are not actually happy with the trainings they use. They understand the importance, but they are not happy with them. Why so? Because they are not efficient. Employees getting the opinion that it's more about don'ts, it's only the policy, only the compliance, it doesn't have any relations to me, and it actually takes an enormous burden to you, to IT guys or IT security guys. Actually, normally, almost all companies do not have the dedicated resources to manage security awareness training. And so it's normally is the task which is given to IT team or IT security team, or sometimes HR team, but they don't have dedicated resources. They don't have an experience. So for them, it's on also the administrative burden. What to do with this? Actually, here at Kaspersky, we have the huge experience with cybersecurity threats and caused by employees, and we have a huge experience in providing security awareness training to normal employees, not to IT people, but to standard sales people, engineers, accountants, to name a few. So with this, we have the extensive training portfolio for all of them. And what is very important for all of them, we create skills, not just knowledge. People never behave because they have knowledge. They actually behave because they have motivation and skills. And all of our trainings are focused on skills. The trainings are computer-based. Here we have some offline training as well, but all of them are also supported by computer software. So it's very easy to manage. It can be implemented right now. And of course, it's measurable, it's easy to manage, and all of this. And you don't have to decide which date is better based on the trainer's availability. No, it's online. We always use the real life examples. We have a lot of them. At Kaspersky, we have 2,000 people who are actually making the investigation for cyber incidents or making the malware research. And so we know which examples to use here. And well, we use the up-to-date learning and training and development methodologies and technologies, and that makes trainings much more important. Of course, I would be happy if after this webinar, you just maybe asked some questions about this training, but my key goal today is actually to put your attention to approaches. Again, if you have, maybe you have your own courses, you're making them by yourselves and spending your time for that. Okay, that's fine. Maybe using other solutions, but please always make sure that you're concentrating on skills, not just knowledge, that you're using computer-based software, that you're using real-life examples and up-to-date information about cyber threats, and that it's efficient. In our case, it's quite clear. So based on our cybersecurity expertise, we have created a very particular skill set. This is a set of rules, 300 skills, which every employee should have. Maybe not every employee, I'll tell about this. And then we just add different methods and formats and levels of difficulties and everything you want. So we have maybe what is the best thing to start with and to proceed. Of course, we will be happy if you have the different amount of trainings. For example, to start with the gamified, just 2 hours interactive protection simulation, or with other gamified experience, just to start the program, to motivate people. And then to have some specific training for IT teams, because they are very different from standard people, from sales managers, for example. But of course, in the center of your cybersecurity program, there should be the training, online training for all the employees. I'll show you our approach and we'll give you some free tools, and then it's up to you to decide how to better work with this, what to do next. This is our key product, which is named Kaspersky Automated Security Awareness Platform. Actually, if you look closer, you will see that the acronym for this is ASAP. This is the same as ASAP. Like as soon as possible. This is not a coincidence, because we created this training, which is absolutely easy to set up. It just takes several minutes to set up and manage. And your employees also getting new skills ASAP. So this is the platform which is predefined. Learning efficiency is predefined because we have created it for you. Of course, you can have a lot of settings if you want, if you have this expertise as well. But if you don't have this desire, just default settings are efficient for your employees. The platform is automated, so the program administration is absolutely easy and takes just minutes to manage. And for our partners, actually, it gives also a lot of benefits because it's easy in sales and delivery. And well, some of your managed service providers can actually provide the management, if you want this, over the ASAP itself. But the best thing is actually that you can register for this platform absolutely for free in just 2 minutes. We have the website. I will show you more about this. It's www.kaspersky.com. K-ASAP, Kaspersky-Automated Security Awareness Platform.com. You can register there for free. It will take a couple of minutes for you, and you will have the administrative access. Normally, under the trial conditions, we provide a free education for up to 5 employees. But with this strange time, we have provided it for free for up to 500 employees for each administrative account. Of course, not all the information will be available for you during this free session, but you will be able to keep your employees with the most comprehensive lessons about cybersecurity. Again, of course, I will repeat the slide and the URL if you need this. But let us take a look for how we are working with, and if you prefer to have your own training, what you should pay attention at. I told that we have 2 pillars, the predetermined learning efficiency and time-saving program administration. Both are created through automation, but automation for program management is quite clear. For learning paths, we use the specific content, use specific motivation, specific schedule, and a thoroughly built assessment tools. Of course, we have a lot of descriptions for the methodology. I won't go into all details. You can see that there are a lot of different approaches that we use and that we combine in the one product to bring the efficiency. Just key highlights. First of all, the content consists of more than 200 of short lessons. It's very important. The micro-learning is the key. No one wants to spend hours for the lessons. No, in our case, you can spend just 2-5 minutes. Well, sometimes it will be 8, okay. But in the majority of cases, it will be 2 to 5 minutes. And with this, you finalize the lesson. So you can see that it covers all the important cybersecurity domains, and we use the target level approach. So you decide, for example, for some of your employees, just basics will be quite enough. But if you have, for example, the employees at your treasury, they have the access to money, to find sensitive information and systems. Of course, for them, it's absolutely important to be trained until the advanced level. It's up to you. You are just setting the target level for each of your groups of employees and decide until which level they will learn. Of course, you can make some adjustments. For example, for your sales managers, maybe you will prefer that they would be trained for the mobile devices topic until the advanced level, and for web browsing, just for basics. It's also possible. And what is even more important, actually, to have that each lesson creates some specific skill. For example, this is the actual names of our lessons. For example, what should I do if my email is hacked? This is the skill that every employee should have. And you understand why you want them to have the skills. And the employee just coming to this lesson spends about 3 minutes to get about this and to have some learning test. And voila, the skill is with him or with her. But of course, it's not enough just to pass through the lesson once, because, this is how our memory works. We forget everything. So this is the psychological research, which shows that people normally forgets about 50%, about the half of information they get in only 2 days. In 2 months, you will only remember 16% of the initial amount of information. But if you have it reinforced, just briefly go through this, not necessarily repeat it in full, no. Then, after this reinforcement, your knowledge, your skills will come to the initial level. And what is more importantly, the pace of forgetting will be slower and slower and slower. And after 3 or 4 repetitions, actually, the skills will stay with you for years. In our case, in the platform, of course, in principle, you can make You can set up all these repetitions manually if you want this, if you have the platform which allows only manual job. But actually, I wouldn't recommend to do so. So if you have dozens and hundreds of lessons, hundreds of employees, and with this, you need to manually make all the settings. Just remember whom to reinforce what. It's impossible. So that's why we did it automatically. We automated the learning path. So after employee finishes with lessons on each particular topic, then the reinforcement email with case study will be sent to him or her in 4 days when the memory starts to forget it. Then in 3 days later, the test will come to your employees. And then the simulated phishing attack will also come here. If employee has passed all these tests and assessment, then he or she will go to the next topic and new level. And please pay attention that all these exercises are actually structured around the same topic. If we are coming through the password topic, so then we are having the lessons on this, on password security. Then we have the case study reinforcement email about password security. Then we have test on the same topic. And then we have simulated phishing attack, which is trying to steal your password. So with this, all the knowledge and all the skills are reinforced. And of course, when we completed the topic for password, for example, it's not at all. For example, you will come to the social network topic soon, and there will be some repetition, some reinforcement for this, because social media accounts have passwords. So you will get the same skills, you will practice the same skills in different environment, in social media, and then for email passwords for your mailbox. That's how the platform works. Well, speaking of the content, as you can see, the content employees can pass it using their mobile devices or their desktop or tablets, anything they want. We have the interactive lessons, more than 200 interactive lessons. We have tests. Some of these tests are learning tests with the feedback immediately, and some of them are just like exam, when you should pass or not pass. As you can see, all the exercises, all the content is available in Arabic and dozens of other languages. So everything works perfectly. Simulating phishing attack is also available, and actually just yesterday, we have published a more advanced phishing simulation. And so you can have a lot of assessment for your employees. We have the reinforcement email and all of this. Speaking about automation, again, I remind you that in 7 minutes, we will have the Q&A session. If you have any questions, I can see some of them, then type them and I will answer them. Speaking about program administration, just the last topic that we have for today, actually. Again, it's automated, so it's very easy. If you register for the administrative trial right now at www.k-asap.com, then you will immediately have the dashboard and you can evaluate this. So this is just the several widgets that we have on the dashboard on one single page. You can present every action that you may have from the same dashboard, from the same page. You'll have the immediate look at your at the results and the interim results of your groups. For example, here from this chart, you can see that well, the things are not going very well in my imaginary group, because well, a lot of red, there are a lot of black. Of course, it's better when the majority of your users are in green zone. But anyway, I can drop down, I can click through and see all the information about the groups, all statistics, and even go to the individual results of each particular employee. And the system also supports you and shows you what can be done to improve the situation, to send emails, motivational events for this group or that group, everything you want. And maybe maybe one of the last points that I will show to you is notifications. Notifications are not only the technical tool. Well, actually, what is pronounced more and more frequently now is that security awareness is not only the software, it's not only the content. Security awareness is a kind of internal communications. So you need to translate this motivation and this knowledge to all the company, and eventually to build a cybersecurity culture across the organization. But you cannot do this without the communication tools. But we all understand that you don't have, the majority of you don't have time and resources and to set up all the communication program by yourself. That's why in ASAP, we actually implemented these tools, these easy tools into the platform. And some of them are sent automatically, some of them can be adjusted by you. Well, with this, I actually hope that you will have the opportunity, first of all, you will reinforce, let me use this word, you'll reinforce your knowledge about how important that is to train your employees for IT security and to get them motivated, not only to have the compliance, well, tick the box, but change the behavior of your employees. And I also hope that you will have the opportunity to try our platform, our automated security awareness training right now. You can register for free for the administrative level trial at www.k-asap.com. Again, let me share with you that until the end of September, the platform has the special settings. So if you are registering, you will have the opportunity to upload up to 500 employees and to train all of them to the most important, most comprehensive skills which are required during the situation that we all face. The basic level of password security, email security, web browsing, and GDPR, for those of you who need this, will be available for you, and your employees should be trained on this. Well, we will be absolutely happy if you take a look on this, and maybe if you have any questions on other training that I also mentioned. For example, we have the special training for IT specialists and our relatively new training for our public relations specialists and the entire management team on the very important topic. Okay. You have the technical defense, you have the human firewall with your trained employees, but unfortunately, nothing can guarantee that the incidents still happen. Well, but you won't have it that often, but still something can happen. So for this case, we also have the special training for crisis communication, incident communications. And this is relatively new training for us. And if you're interested, just let us know. You can see that we have our presence on the internet, or you can address your Kaspersky local or Kaspersky office. We have it in all the countries of the region. And you can just drop us a line at awareness@kaspersky.com. So thank you, actually, and please take care. Please make sure that you yourself are cyber safe and that your employees are also safe. Okay. With this, the presentation part of our webinar today has ended. And so I remind you that you can have your questions, you can put your questions. We have a number of them already. And my colleagues will join me and just to read your questions, actually. Just for you, not to forget to have the special offer, the free offer. So yes, my colleagues are joining us to put these questions. So with this, we have one first question. Can you share the best enterprise security architecture model that can secure data in networks, such as segregation and data encryptions, also DLP and user access management and advanced threat system? Khalifa, thank you very much for having this question. Well, today maybe we are discussing more well, human nature, human part of this equation. But you're absolutely right. So you should be protected from all the points. If you don't mind, actually, we can contact later, and I just want to answer. I just want your question will be answered in full. So with this, I will ask my colleagues to make an introduction for you. Just actually several weeks ago, we have implemented the integrated solution for technical part of the equation, which you can also get to know from our website, and we can also get in touch with you a little bit later. My dear colleagues, do you have more questions here? We don't have more questions. Okay. So I hope that it's because it's absolutely clear how important it is to track human behavior and to make your employees think about cybersecurity and be motivated about this. Actually, following cybersecurity rules is a lot of fun. So, actually, what we also like about our approach, I enjoy it. Actually, I have been with Kaspersky security awareness for more than 4 years. And I still enjoying the gamified trainings and experience that we have. Sometimes we have them as the marketing tool. Sometimes well, of course, this is a business for us as well. But that's amazing how we can see how the behavior of employees are changing. Dear Rashid, will you join the call for the last words for our guests? Just let me check. We have a lot of devices, of course. Thank you very much for your time this morning, ladies and gentlemen. I will be absolutely happy if you pass this knowledge to your team and you will think about how important that is. Many thanks once again to the TRA, which organized this webinar series. And you can always check the TRA Virtual Academy for more videos and more topics on every topics and every field of the knowledge. So thank you with this, and please enjoy your day and enjoy your week as well. Thanks.